Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including new huge discounts on the brand new Model Y, studies showing just how much more reliable EVs are, the latest from Ford, Audi, and more, so let's get into it, and a special thanks to Kinsta for sponsoring this video. First up today, a new study from German Automobile Club clearly shows that EVs are much more reliable than gas-powered cars. Now, the German Automobile Club, also known as ADAC, is the largest roadside assistance organization in Europe, so it's similar to AAA in America. In 2024, they collected a ton of data because they responded to 3.6 million breakdowns. Quote, "For the first time in 2024, the ADAC said it had enough data to make a confident call on EV reliability, and that call favors electric. With another year of data behind them, the case has only grown stronger. While it responded to more EV calls for service than ever before, those accounted for just 43,678 out of the 3.6 million total, or just 1.2%. For cars registered specifically between 2020 and 2022, EVs experienced 4.2 breakdowns per 1,000 vehicles, and that was compared to 10.4 breakdowns per 1,000 gasoline and diesel cars. So EVs are clearly winning out here in the specific time range that they're looking at. Interestingly, the most common cause of these breakdowns is the 12-volt battery, which many EVs still use as well. So approximately 50% of breakdowns for EVs were due to 12-volt battery failures, and this was comparable to 45% seen in internal combustion engine vehicles. But they added, quote, "In almost every single category over the last few years, combustion cars have seen more or equal issues when compared to EVs, including the electrical system, engine management, and lighting." Of course, we know why this is the case. It's because EVs are much more simple. Their drivetrains are simpler, they have fewer moving parts, and all of this contributes to enhanced reliability and reduced maintenance needs. So this is a great study to see. For many people that are worried about electric vehicles, this should alleviate some concern. And it's cool to see that this isn't just for Tesla or any specific EV brand, this is for electric vehicles as a whole. In the future, more data will come as well, and we'll have longer-term studies. So far, EVs in large numbers haven't really been on the road for too long. In fact, we're really only approaching a decade in the next couple years as to when those mass-market vehicles like the Model 3 have been on the road. So we're still waiting on more data and some really big studies to really see the results here long-term, but things are looking great so far. Next up today, over at Tesla, they posted a monthly recap and then announced a few new incentives that are bringing big discounts to their latest cars. Their monthly recap was posted on X, and they detailed everything like their new diamond black paint option, and then showcased some videos of full self-driving, avoiding collisions, and being tested in Europe, of course, pending regulatory approval. Quote, "Giga Texas production now uses FSD unsupervised to deliver cars from end of line to the outbound logistics lot." And then they showed that the FSD supervised ride-hailing service has been in place for employees, and it's completed over 1,500 trips and 15,000 miles as of April 23rd. Their semi-factory is well underway, and they gave some updates there. They launched their cars along with the Cybertruck in Saudi Arabia, and then the Cybertruck long-range rear-wheel drive was announced. At the same time, their spring software update came, which brought a bunch of features, including adaptive headlights to the US and Canada, and improvements to the dashcam and Sentry mode systems. Then Giga Texas produced its 400,000th vehicle. But then we get into the incentives and deals. For the Model 3, Tesla says it's now available around 40,000 euros in many countries. And then the latest offer for the Model 3 in the United States is 0% financing for 60 months. That can be a great deal that can truly save you thousands of dollars throughout ownership. For a base Model 3 in the United States, including taxes and fees, and prior to any tax credits or anything like that, you're looking at $49,513. If you include a $4,000 down payment, the difference between Tesla's previous offer of 5.49% APR and 0% ends up saving you $6,635 throughout ownership. That's an incredible deal right there. And it's one of those things that may be difficult for certain buyers to understand. If Tesla offered $6,000 off of the new Model 3 today, that would be an incredible deal. But for many, they're already going to be financing at whatever rate is available. So this really does save you about $6,300 throughout ownership. Now that Model 3 has been around for some time at this point in its refreshed form, but Tesla is also offering a number of other incentives at the moment, including the full self-driving transfer. This returns every once in a while, but it's great for current Tesla owners because they can upgrade to the latest car and transfer that package without having to pay $8,000 again and then lose the old package with their car. But this adds to the latest incentive that Tesla is offering for a car that's now only 2 months old, the brand new Model Y. In the United States, Tesla is offering 1.99% APR on the Model Y, and that's for 72-month loans. So it only took a few months after Tesla previously offered 0% APR on the old Model Y for them to get this offer in place for the brand new car. And then it only took them 2 months for the refreshed Model Y to need an incentive for them to drive sales. Tesla doesn't offer incentives unless they need to, so this incentive comes as Juniper Model Ys are becoming readily available. You can see them readily available in many areas in inventory. In fact, near me, I can get almost every single option of a Model Y in inventory. I see the option for Quicksilver, gray, red, white, blue, and even the white launch series. The only options I don't see in my inventory page are white interior and diamond black paint. However, if I configure a diamond black paint Model Y with white interior on Tesla's website, that car says it's available today. So I can pick it up today, it's readily available. And even if I change to upgraded wheels, it says it's available today. So basically, in certain areas, any configuration that you want of the brand new Model Y is readily available. Now this of course is in California, but many other options are available in other markets. For example, here we look at Minnesota. We can see a lot of different options available there in various configurations available today. Then the longest wait time appears to be 1 to 3 weeks. Here we can see the same over in New York. Tons of different configurations are available today, and then some of them have a little bit of a wait time. Same situation over in Texas. Now, of course, this is only the long-range all-wheel drive Model Y, and this is the only spec that Tesla's offering right now, and the rear-wheel drive is yet to come and will, of course, be cheaper. They offered that for a long time on the previous generation of the Model Y. But this is a brand new 2-month-old car, and it's readily available however you want it, and they're offering 1.99% APR to drive sales. Normal rates are 5.49%, so this really equals out to an incredible savings, kind of similar to what we saw with the Model 3 just a second ago. Next up today, as an online business owner, I have to constantly teach myself new skills to keep up, and a huge part of that is running a website. That takes ongoing management and can get overwhelming on top of everything else you need to do to run your business. So when it comes to managing web hosting, today's sponsor can help. Kinsta's expert team handles all the technical issues and troubleshooting associated with web hosting, allowing me to focus on actually running my website. If tech isn't your thing, Kinsta's managed WordPress hosting is a huge relief. Hosting dashboards can often feel outdated and confusing, but Kinsta's feel fresh and intuitive. For my business, fast speeds and reliable uptime are everything, and Kinsta can help you keep your site up and running better than anyone could do by themselves. I also have peace of mind knowing I have the highest level of security for my website. If an issue does come up though, I love being able to talk to a real human being 24/7 as well. Overall, Kinsta is perfect if you want professional results without needing a technical background. If you're tired of being your own website support team, switch your hosting to Kinsta and get your first month free. They'll even handle the whole transition for you, no tech experience required. Just visit kinsta.com/Ryan Shaw to get started. That's KINSTA.com/Ryan Shaw. Assuming you qualify for the tax credit, quick math shows that this APR incentive brings you from a car payment of $700 a month to $631 a month, saving about $69 there. In the best case scenario, though, with excellent credit, Tesla was offering 5.49% APR. So throughout ownership on a base Model Y, this incentive of 1.99% will save you $5,970, almost $6,000 off. Again, if you saw a $6,000 price drop on the brand new Model Y, that would probably be a pretty great incentive. And that's what Tesla is offering here for anyone that was already planning to finance their car. If you then spec out a Model Y with all of the options you could buy, including full self-driving and more, this will save you about $7,000. It's a really great deal, but it's also a little bit worrying for this brand new car that's only 2 months old. Of course, on the consumer side, though, this is just a pretty great deal that is being offered. But at the same time, it's very tough to time a Tesla purchase, and I'm almost leaning towards saying this might not be a great time to buy a Tesla. We're starting to see these incentives stack up, but we're also seeing inventory stack up, so it feels like more incentives are right around the corner. Tesla hasn't announced any deadline for this 1.99% APR, but I wouldn't be surprised if soon enough they say it's ending at the end of the quarter. However, we could see them actually improve it with a 0.99% or a 0% APR to match the Model 3. And then we could see them add other things like a referral discount. Right now, the referral code only gets you a 3-month free trial of full self-driving. Instead, they could again offer $1,000 to $2,000 off of a Model Y purchase when you use someone's referral link. Then they may include free options like paint upgrades if you purchase FSD and more deals like that. So it feels like waiting, even at this point a couple months, might be the smartest option, as Tesla really needs to drive sales of their car and just has to lower prices. But there are two things that make it so I can't say this at all definitively, and that is tariffs and the possible disappearance of the tax credit. Tariffs could come in that raise Tesla's cost and cause them to raise their prices. So it could be that you waited to get that lower price on the Model Y or whatever incentive they may offer, but then they had to raise the price because of tariffs. And the industry as a whole had to raise their price, so it's really not a competitive disadvantage on Tesla's part. But then the big one is the possible disappearance of the EV tax credit from the federal government. If you qualify for that, that's a $7,500 discount that is currently available that could disappear in the future. This administration has definitely talked about getting rid of it, although we haven't seen it talked about too much as of late. So as usual, it is very tough to time a Tesla purchase, but with the incentives they're offering right now, like 1.99% APR, if you were already planning to finance, this could save you $6,000 to $7,000 on the brand new Model Y. Next up today, the future of Tesla really relies on self-driving, and as such, their robotaxi network is coming along with their dedicated robotaxi. A clip of a new report from Fox was posted by Tesla's North American account saying, "We make the most American-made cars that drive themselves from the end of the production line to the outbound logistics slot, and then continue to drive themselves anywhere you want under your supervision." They're clearly showing the inside of the factory here, which really is our first look at this outside of Tesla's official footage. And you can see there's some employees driving cars to certain locations, but then at a certain point, these cars simply drive themselves entirely out of the factory. At the same time, Joe Tegmeyer posted what this looks like from the outside, and he said, "Yep, Teslas are autonomously driving out of the factory and around 1.5 miles to the west end-of-line facility, even navigating out of the factory down a ramp through heavy traffic all day long. Here's a close aerial view of one Model Y doing just that today at Giga, Texas." No matter what, this is impressive to see. Of course, this is a small area and it's geo-fenced, and Tesla can somewhat control what's going on here. But it's impressive to see regardless, and that they're this trusting of brand new cars to navigate themselves autonomously and actually navigate around obstacles. It's not like it's a route where nothing could happen to the car. It actually does have to think and stop for things. So these cars are self-driving right out of the factory, and then they can do a lot of that capability when you get it yourself. As for the dedicated robotaxi itself, Tesla is well underway on production of those Giga casts that will lead to the underbody of this car. Joe Tegmeyer got some more footage of what appears to be both the front and rear Cybercab castings at Giga, Texas, and the numbers are growing rapidly here. Here are a couple close-ups on a big lineup of castings sitting on crates, and then of course we have all those racks of other pieces sitting nearby. This casting is entirely new, and this isn't something we've seen from Tesla before, so we know this is not the Model Y, it's most likely not the Model 3, and it's definitely not the Cybertruck. The numbers are really growing here though, which is very interesting to see. As of last week, we saw about 400 rear castings and then a few front ones, but now we're seeing many more of those front castings, and they're stored on racks. Everything is way different about these, and they're growing in numbers, so it really seems that Tesla is getting ready for true production of the Cybercab. It's a big gamble because they have to achieve unsupervised self-driving to ship this car without a steering wheel, but everything is in line for it to actually be made at their factory using their unboxed assembly process. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Over at Ford, we've mainly just seen the Mustang Mach-E and the Ford F-150 Lightning, at least in North America. In other markets, we've seen other EVs come from Ford that are dedicated EVs, but they're built on other people's platforms like Volkswagen's MEB platform. So we haven't really seen Ford do too much new innovation since the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning came out. But of course, Ford recognizes that they need a different strategy for the future. Partnerships are not what is going to get them to scale up and truly be a real competitor, and realize more cost savings, because ultimately they still lose money on every Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning that they sell today. Well, as such, we know that they're working on their own in-house architecture, and we have some updates about it this week. Ford is developing a next-generation electric vehicle platform with its own electric architecture, specifically to move away from people like Volkswagen, and they say that this new platform incorporates insights from previous development efforts, aiming to enhance performance and integration. Overall, they're aiming for cost efficiency here with their research and development, and they have specifically a skunkworks team that has been working on this low-cost EV platform for over 2 years now. They say that they're achieving development at approximately 30% of the typical cost. So the initiative focuses on creating affordable EVs, particularly in underserved market segments, to compete effectively with rivals. Initially, they plan to use this for, what else would you expect from Ford, an electric pickup truck. This will be a mid-size pickup, and it's going to be the first vehicle to utilize this platform, and CEO Jim Farley has called this a potential game changer. To maintain affordability, these EVs will not include things like Level 3 autonomous driving features, because in order to implement them with the way that they do it, it needs LiDAR, which is expensive. At the same time, Ford has been shifting away from another strategy they were planning to develop for these vehicles, and that was their FNV architecture project, which basically aimed to develop a centralized software system akin to Tesla's due to escalating costs and delays. When it comes to a company like Ford, they're relying on tons of different suppliers, and they actually don't control a lot of the software in their cars. So they wanted to develop a centralized system like Tesla does, where they control everything. In fact, they can just push a software update to fix anything in their vehicle, and they don't have to work with third-party suppliers. But ultimately, it seems that ended up too expensive for Ford. They said, quote, "We simply made a decision to merge two of our electrical architectures into a common electrical architecture for use across many more vehicles." They say that they're redirecting efforts towards more feasible and cost-effective solutions for EV development and software integration. That is always the interesting thing to see with electric vehicles, is the R&D up front can be substantial. And so can companies really take that on? And how long does it really take to get that going overall? It's one of the advantages many people don't totally consider when it comes to Tesla. The fact that they did all of their software development up front, and those costs have basically already been realized. Of course, there's plenty more development to go into the future, but they have a huge head start when it comes to things like that. As for the specifics of how they're merging these, they said, quote, "We are migrating the most important parts of FNV4, module software, and controlling it from central locations where we have control, and the work done on, for example, over the air, to a common architecture. We are gaining the ability to deploy advanced software features, like our new in-vehicle infotainment and advanced Blue Cruise, across not only all new electric vehicles, but also our high-volume gas and hybrid vehicles like Bronco, Mustang, Super Duty, Ranger, and Transit." So ultimately, Ford is taking a little more control of their software into the future, but they are not taking complete control, and it seems they will still be reliant on some suppliers. Ultimately, though, the exciting thing here is that underlying platform, which they say they are able to develop at about 30% of the current cost. That should be something that helps them to scale up a lot further in the future and actually make these cars profitable. Over at Audi, they recently unveiled their first China-specific model for their China-specific sub-brand, which is simply Audi in all caps. This is the Audi E5 Sportback, and they say this is developed in China for China. This will provide 4 different electric powertrains with different outputs ranging from 295 to 776. And the top variant, equipped with 4-wheel drive, accelerates from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.4 seconds. The highest range version of the E5 Sportback offers a range up to 478 miles on the CLTC testing cycle with a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack. So converted to EPA for comparison, that's about 344 miles. Of course, it seems like this isn't coming to the United States anytime soon, but it's a good number to keep in mind. They also say this is capable of gaining approximately 230 miles of range in just 10 minutes of charging, but again, converted to EPA, that's about 166 miles. Overall, I think this is a pretty cool refresh and a new exterior design from Audi with a new logo, and to me, it does resemble the EV6 in shape, the Kia EV6 that is. It features a 27-inch display inside spanning the full width of the dashboard with critical functions accessible at all times. And that's also similar to what Kia and Hyundai have done with their infotainment screens. They also say this includes an app store that's accessed using facial recognition technology, and then it's equipped with things like a roof-mounted LiDAR box, 3 long-range radars, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and an array of cameras that enable advanced autonomous driving features. Ford talking about LiDAR, Audi talking about LiDAR, it's one of those things that makes it really interesting to watch the future, since Tesla has gone all in on self-driving without using any of these sensors. Other companies seem to find them necessary. In any case, this car is developed in collaboration with SAIC, designed specifically for China, and production is set to begin later this year with no current plans for European sales. A saloon version is then expected in 2026, followed by an SUV in 2027, and of course, they're both based on the same platform. That's all the latest Tesla news for today. So in the meantime, if you want to see the deals that Tesla is offering, including up to $12,000 off of current new vehicles, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.